Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of December 14th through the 20th. And during that time, we have a waning crescent moon, which is a really good time of surrender, rest, and healing. So let go, rest, and let's get ready for the new cycle ahead, which starts on the 20th, which with the new moon. And of course, that's a time for a fresh start, new beginnings, a good time to learn a new skill, start a new way of doing things, projects that you might start both inner and outer. Just a really good time to do that. So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Capricorn. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this particular reading: a new start is coming with the new moon. So yeah, just what I was talking about. Perfect, because that's where we are. That's what we're heading up to. So maybe take that time for that rest and healing. It's if it's winter where you are, it's winter here where I am. Good time to snuggle up on the couch with a blanket and some hot chocolate and read a book, watch a movie, do a little crafting. That's what I was doing last night, and it was just so snuggly and warm and nice. I didn't want to move. So just take advantage of that energy right now. All right, as I'm shuffling, I would like to say that since my readings are free to you, all that I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button right there. It really helps my channel, and it is super easy for you to do. Just remember that you do need to be logged into Google or YouTube to do that. So I'll give you just a moment to hit that subscribe button now as I'm shuffling. And thank you so much. If you've been a subscriber, thank you for coming back and helping me build a community here. I see those of you that are coming back and watching the readings every week, and I just want to say that I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. This has been a journey for me to learn how to read for the collective. I've been doing it for about a year now, and it's very different than the interaction of reading for someone in person. And I'm learning myself. So again, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. All right, let's get into this reading, Capricorn, for December 14th through the 20th. A new start is coming, and this card really wanted to come out, and I'm not surprised. With the new start, here we are with the Fool right at the beginning of the major arcana. So the Fool's ready to take off, do a new journey. This, like I said, journeys can be inner, outer. It could be things that you want to change in your outer world, little adjustments that you want to make from very small to very big. It also could be things that you want to change within yourself, your way of thinking. So this could be, just trying new affirmations. So maybe in this cycle, you try a certain affirmation. What do they say? It takes 30 days for something to become a habit. So, you put that affirmation, maybe it's sitting on your car dashboard on a Post-it note, and every day you get in your car and you say this affirmation out loud. So you're on some sort of new journey, new beginnings. I love that you have a new start here, Capricorn. Let's see where it's going to head. Your current situation right now is the Queen of Pentacles. So you start off this new journey with a real good understanding of the material world. This could be things, money. This could be where you live, the material, tangible items that you own. You're just in a place where you have a really good understanding of those sorts of things. You are, it's like the king in the royalty part, someone who has really a lot of knowledge. The queen also has knowledge, but it's like the feminine version of that type of knowledge. But also when it's royalty, it's not only do you have an understanding for yourself of the material world, but you can really look around you at the people that are around you and kind of understand where they're coming from too. So that empathy comes into play, where you just really understand people, and especially in that aspect at this time around you. All right. At the root of your situation is truth here with the Justice card. So, you may have just arrived at some sort of truth. Anytime we learn something new, it's kind of we evolve into the next phase of ourselves, and it can start off and be a new phase there, like with the Fool card. So, think about what sort of truth that you're sitting in this week. But this is definitely about order and redemption. This could be, just equilibrium. Things are just in a good place. Things seem fair, there's some dignity and grace to truth. So keep that in mind. What is just behind you is the Six of Pentacles. So you might have been using this knowledge of your pentacles um, and your understanding of material things to be very giving. Usually I ask, what's happening in this card, but I get the feeling that you've already been very giving, very charitable. It is kind of that time of year for giving. So that's something that you're coming out of that right now, and it's something that you've been doing in your recent past. So you might have been doing some charitable giving, some volunteering of your time, or maybe you just got rid of a lot of things and donated them to some, things that you weren't using and donated them somewhere where someone else could use them. So in whatever way that is, that's kind of the energy that you're bringing into your current situation, which is also, I believe, really great for manifesting new things for yourself. It's like clear out the old, and give that to someone else who can make use of it, and time for new things, right? What's on your mind this week is the Emperor. So we've got three major arcana here. Anytime we have, for me, three or four major arcana means kind of it's a major shift for you. So on your mind is, what do you want to build? And maybe what do you want to build not only in this cycle, but you might even be starting to think for the next year or ahead, maybe the next 5 or 10 years. So so as you're in this understanding about material world and finances and that sort of thing, it might be in your mind that you want to take some of that money maybe that you've earned and you want to build something on it. You may want to invest in something. You may want to, maybe you're thinking about a vision, a business or something. But the leader, or the emperor, is a leader that has definitely a clear vision of where they're going. It's like they set goals and they achieve those small little things to get to those goals, and that's definitely on your mind right now with this new start. So it could be a new job for some of you, it could be a new business that you want to start, and it could just be a way of managing the things that you already have, maybe building upon the base that you've already started. What is just ahead of you this week is a financial stability here with the Four of Pentacles. So, it looks like Pentacles are definitely on your mind. The material is on your mind, not only to have that understanding, to be giving and generous with it, but also to be stable. And is this Emperor here going to put you towards that new stability? Very, very much could be. So you're sitting in the truth of kind of, this is the way things are. Let me do something to build this and move into even more stability right now. In your advice position, Capricorn is the King of Cups. So lots of royalty showing up too, and major arcana. King of Cups is, where I said the Queen is about the understanding and kind of the feminine side of their suit. The King is about knowledge of, but also not just of your own emotional stability and your ability to use your emotions to your advantage, to not let them get the best of you, but to understand what drives you on an emotional level and use that in a positive manner. But you can also see the people around you and how they use their emotions, and they may or may not have as great a control of as you do, but you at least understand where they're coming from. And maybe part of that is because, in order to reach the height of having that king energy, we all go through those steps where we're not quite as in control. So you can recognize that in others, like, oh, I remember when I was that age and I didn't have control of that either, or I remember when I was in that situation, and it's before I learned how to have that really good emotional control. But your advice is to definitely maintain that balance and control through everything that you're going through this week. What is beyond your control this week is the Judgment card. So yeah, lots of major arcana and royalty. So judgment, and is this judgment of you, by you, or is it judgment from you towards either someone else or something else? And any of that can be true. It is kind of beyond your control that you're just at least going to touch on judgment a little bit this week and have to deal with it a little bit. And it could be your own judgment. It could be that you're, making judgment too quickly on something and you stop yourself. You've got this emotion, this great emotional control right now. You stop yourself and you say, wait, I'm not going to judge that because I've been there, or I understand where that person's coming from. Or you might be dealing with someone who judges you, and you may need to stop them and say, hey, don't judge because, and you give your explanation. But that's something that is beyond your control this week. What is your secret desire, or what you're trying to avoid, is the World card, which is funny because not only do we have the Fool here, which is the very beginning of the major arcana. But here we have the end, which is perfect balance. This is just everything being in harmony. This is after the Fool goes through everything in the major arcana. They get to this world card, which is kind of the end and the evolution. So are you doing this all in a week, maybe? Or maybe this is kind of your eye on the prize. It's your secret desire for in the future to go through whatever this new venture, this new thing that you're taking off on, this new start that you kind of, again, you're building. You've got the building blocks with the emperor to be able to build and know which way you want to go. And maybe this is just the end that you have in mind, the positive, really good ending, which is great. That's a great attitude to have. In your outcome position is the Wheel of Fortune. Capricorn, I love this reading. Okay, Wheel of Fortune is about evolving. It's about moving into some next phase, which all of your cards today really point towards. And it points toward that you're taking that step this week. You're taking that step with this new beginning. Whatever it is that you've evaluated in your life that you need to make changes on, your foot's out there ready to make that step. And you're doing it in a very emotionally balanced, you're doing it in a very commanding way. You're doing it and you're honoring truth. You're being very generous, but you're also keeping your instability going as well. So I love that you're heading into this new phase, and the Wheel of Fortune, it can only bring you good things. So I do love that with whatever this is in mind for you. What is hidden from you this week is the Seven of Wands. So feeling like you against the world is not that's hidden from you this week. I feel like you've kind of got the world by the tail this week. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to name this video because you've just got this real big sense of just control. I want you to look at how many of these cards are looking directly at you, the reader. The Justice card, this Emperor, the Stability card. Some of them are kind of looking off to the future and some to the past, so very interesting where everyone's looking at each other. I like to look at that in the, this King of Cups is kind of looking at this Judgment card a little bit. The World card is looking back at the Emperor. So when you start to really examine who's looking at who, and you can kind of see some of that influence there. But I just think this is a great reading. I think you're in a place where you're going to make some really good and big decisions that are going to have a positive influence on you. And I think it goes beyond this week. I think this new start is maybe again for the next year or 5 or 10 years that you're really making some big decisions that will affect those time periods for you. So I love that. Let's get a final word here for Capricorn from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for you: take the lead. Wow. I don't even think I've ever seen that card come up. Yeah, take the lead. You've got this new start. You've got the right attitude. It's like everything's kind of falling into place for you, which I really do love that. What does Capricorn need to do in the way of self-care this week as they're taking the lead? And like I said, just grabbing the world by the tail. Self-care for Capricorn, December 14th through the 20th. Action is the card that you get. Baby steps are still steps, and they're better than standing still. So yeah, if you need to take some of these baby steps, it does look like you're going to take some action there with the Fool card. You're going to at least get this started. And again, you have the eye on the prize, which is the end of the journey. The Fool goes through a lot of different things and meets a lot of different people on his journey through, through the major arcana and through a thing. So when you start something out, it may take you quite a while to get to this world card. There's a lot of things that you have to encounter, but I think you're going to do that, and I think you're going to really be successful at the end. We've got this Wheel of Fortune that is definitely turning in your favor. So Capricorn, thanks so much for being here with me. I do hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use. Again, you've got this new start coming. If you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment down below. Let me know, do you have new starts that are coming up for you? Are you taking baby steps or making those plans to take a leap of faith into something? I'd be very curious to know. Also, once again, if you like my reading style, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps my channel. And most importantly, Capricorn, it'll help you find me next week, where you can come back and we can see where this story goes, or if there's a completely new energy here for you next time. So thanks so much for being here, Capricorn, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.